Which cruising sailboat can be safely handled by one person, day after day, season after season? This is a question that comes up constantly in marina conversations, and the answer matters more than most sailors expect. Choosing the right boat for single-handed sailing is not about finding the smallest or simplest vessel available. It is about finding a cruising sailboat where every line, every winch, and every sail control can be reached and operated by one person without leaving the helm unattended. These 5 cruising monohulls have earned strong reputations among solo sailors for exactly that reason. Catalina 30 remains one of the most commonly seen cruising sailboats in North American marinas, and there is a very practical reason for that. Thousands of these boats are tied up in marinas stretching from the Florida Keys all the way to the harbors of Puget Sound, and a great many of them are regularly sailed by just one person. The cockpit of the Catalina 30 is wide and well protected, with seating areas designed to keep the helmsman comfortable during long passages. Both primary winches are mounted on the cockpit coamings within easy reach of the tiller, which means a solo sailor can adjust the jib sheets without ever stepping away from the helm. Most Catalina 32s on the second-hand market today have been fitted with roller furling headsail systems, allowing the sailor to deploy or stow the jib from the cockpit in a matter of seconds. The main sheet is typically led to a traveler mounted on the bridge deck or cabin top, positioned so that one person can manage it comfortably while steering at the same time. On many upgraded examples, reefing lines have been led aft to the cockpit, eliminating the need to go forward to the mast when conditions begin to deteriorate. The moderate displacement combined with the fin keel gives the boat predictable and stable handling under autopilot, which is a feature that solo sailors on coastal passages depend upon heavily. The relatively shallow draft also makes the boat forgiving during approaches to unfamiliar anchorages along the intracoastal waterway or in the shallow bays of the Chesapeake. For a sailor taking their first steps into the world of single-handed cruising, the Catalina 30 offers a combination of simplicity, widespread availability, and proven long-term reliability that is genuinely difficult to match at its price point. The Beneteau Oceanus 31 represents a distinctly more modern approach to the same fundamental challenge. This boat was designed during a period when European builders began paying serious and sustained attention to short-handed sailing ergonomics, and that focus is clearly visible in the deck layout. The twin-wheel helm option, found on certain models, opens up the cockpit considerably and allows the sailor to move freely between the wheels and the main sheet without any physical obstruction. A solo sailor approaching a marina on the California coast or along the Gulf Shore can reach the jib furling line, the main sheet, and the engine controls all from the helm station without needing to call anyone for assistance. The sail plan has been intentionally kept moderate, with a fractional rig configuration that maintains manageable sail loads even when the breeze builds well beyond what was originally forecast. The self-tacking jib option, available on certain configurations, eliminates one of the most physically demanding tasks for a solo sailor during tacking sequences in confined or congested waters. Electric winches can be fitted to the cockpit, and even without that upgrade, the standard Harken winches are appropriately sized so that one person can trim the Genoa with efficiency and without excessive physical strain. Down below, the Oceanus 31 features a practical interior layout with a forward-facing chart table positioned close to the companionway, allowing the sailor to monitor instruments and check navigation data while still keeping a watchful eye on the cockpit and the surrounding waters. The boat tracks well under autopilot in moderate sea conditions, a quality that solo sailors making long daylight passages from harbor to harbor along the New England coastline will particularly appreciate. It is a boat that feels thoroughly contemporary in its design without being unnecessarily complicated, which is precisely what a single-handed cruising sailor needs from a vessel. The Island Packet 31 takes a markedly different design philosophy from the start. Built in Largo, Florida, these boats were conceived from the very beginning for coastal and offshore voyaging by owners who fully intended to do the vast majority of the sailing themselves. The full keel provides a level of directional stability that significantly reduces the workload placed on the helmsman, and the boat holds its course with remarkable steadiness even when the autopilot is not engaged. The cockpit is deep and inherently secure, with high coamings that give the solo sailor a genuine and reassuring sense of protection during offshore passages or when encountering rough weather conditions in the Gulf Stream. All halyards and reefing lines are led aft through rope clutches and winches positioned at the forward end of the cockpit, which means a solo sailor never has to leave the safety of the cockpit to shorten sail when conditions demand it. The cutter rig, which comes as standard on the Island Packet 31, offers tremendous practical flexibility for a single-handed sailor because it allows multiple sail combinations to be set without the need to handle oversized head sails. In strong winds, a solo sailor can fly the inner staysail alone to reduce the heeling angle and maintain comfortable, confident control of the vessel. The bowsprit and integrated anchor platform make the anchoring process under single-handed conditions considerably more manageable, with the anchor roller positioned so the sailor can deploy and retrieve ground tackle without performing awkward and potentially dangerous foredeck acrobatics. Below deck, the systems have been intentionally kept straightforward and accessible, with easy-to-reach engine compartments and simple plumbing arrangements that allow the owner to carry out routine maintenance without requiring professional assistance. Island packets are a familiar and common sight in the cruising waters of Southwest Florida and throughout the Bahamas, frequently sailed by retired couples or solo sailors who place reliability and dependability above all other considerations. The boat makes no pretense of being fast, but it rewards the patient and thoughtful sailor with a deep and abiding sense of security that is genuinely difficult to quantify until you have experienced it firsthand while alone offshore. The Hallberg Rassy 34 occupies an entirely different tier in terms of both build quality and overall reputation, and among experienced single-handed sailors, it is consistently mentioned with a very particular kind of respect and admiration. This Swedish-built cruiser features the signature Hallberg Rassy windscreen, a raised structure made of steel and glass that wraps around the forward section of the cockpit and provides genuine, effective protection from wind and spray for the helmsman. For a solo sailor making a passage along an exposed and unforgiving stretch of coastline, that windscreen transforms the cockpit into a sheltered and comfortable working space where sail adjustments and navigation tasks can be carried out in relative comfort regardless of conditions outside. The deck layout is clean, well-organized, and deliberately uncluttered, with all lines led through a carefully arranged system of rope clutches to winches positioned within easy reach of the helm station. A solo sailor can reef the mainsail, furl the headsail, and adjust the outhaul without needing to move more than a single step in any direction from the helm. The in-mast furling system, available on certain production years, allows the mainsail to be reduced in area or stowed entirely from the cockpit, which represents a significant and practical advantage when conditions change rapidly during single-handed passages far from shore. The hull is constructed using hand-laid fiberglass with a distinctive and instantly recognizable blue hull stripe, and the consistently high build quality translates directly into fewer unexpected maintenance problems arising during ownership, something that matters enormously when the boat owner is simultaneously the only crew member aboard. The moderate beam and long waterline give the boat a comfortable and easy motion in a seaway, which plays an important role in reducing physical fatigue during extended solo watches that can stretch on for many hours. Hallberg Rassy 34 seconds are seen less frequently in American marinas compared to some of the other boats discussed on this list, but they do appear with regularity in the cruising harbors of New England and occasionally in the waters of the Pacific Northwest as well. Owners who make the investment in this particular boat tend to keep it for a very long time indeed, and that enduring loyalty is perhaps the single most telling endorsement of its suitability and fitness for the single-handed cruising life. The Pacific Seacraft 34 is frequently and widely described as one of the finest small offshore cruising sailboats ever built in the United States, and when it comes to single-handed sailing specifically, its underlying design philosophy aligns almost perfectly with everything a solo sailor truly needs from a vessel. The cutter rig provides the same fundamental versatility found on the Island packet, with the added refinement of a sail plan that was drawn by the distinguished naval architect William Crealock, specifically with balanced and harmonious handling characteristics in mind. A solo sailor can fly the inner staysail paired with a deeply reefed mainsail in 30 knots of sustained wind and still feel with complete confidence that the boat remains firmly and reassuringly under control. The cockpit is compact by contemporary modern standards, but that very compactness is a genuine virtue for single-handed sailing, because it means that absolutely everything the sailor needs is within arm's reach at all times. The helmsman can brace securely and comfortably against the coamings while trimming sheets, and the tiller delivers direct, immediate, and highly informative feedback about the boat's balance and behavior through the water. All halyards are led aft to the cockpit, and the primary winches are positioned so that a solo sailor can grind in the jib while simultaneously maintaining clear visual contact with the horizon ahead. The heavy displacement and long keel give the Pacific Seacraft 34 a steadiness and composure in rough water that inspires genuine and deeply felt confidence in the sailor, particularly during solo night passages along the California coast or during offshore deliveries out to Catalina Island and beyond. The bronze hardware and carefully finished teak trim throughout the boat reflect a level of craftsmanship and attention to detail that has become increasingly rare in modern production boat building, and the structural integrity of the solidly built hull gives the solo sailor lasting peace of mind in conditions where rescue assistance may not be readily or quickly available. These boats hold their value exceptionally well on the secondhand market, and finding one in genuinely good condition at a reasonable and fair price requires considerable patience and persistent determination. Among the dedicated solo sailing community worldwide, the Pacific Seacraft 34 is not merely a boat that is routinely recommended. It is a boat that is spoken of with deep and sincere admiration. When sailors accumulate enough experience on the water over the years, a quiet but unmistakable pattern begins to emerge in their thinking. The desire to own a larger, more impressive, more visually striking boat gradually gives way to a genuine and growing appreciation for a vessel that one person can manage confidently and safely in all conditions. Docking alone in a challenging crosswind, reefing the sails at dusk with no one available to take the helm, anchoring in an unfamiliar harbor without a second pair of eyes stationed on the bow. These are the real and unforgiving tests of a cruising sailboat, and they reveal clearly whether a boat was designed with the solo sailor genuinely in mind. The 5 boats discussed here share one essential common quality. They do not demand more from the sailor than one person can reasonably and sustainably give. That quality, more important than speed, more important than interior volume, and more important than prestige, is what ultimately defines a truly capable, single-handed cruising sailboat. Yes, today I talked about these boats. If you want more videos like this to keep coming, do not forget to like the video and subscribe. Goodbye.